They're pronounced Shwowp. Welcome to the stage, Shwowp.
Hi. So hi, I'm Tara, and this is Cassandra and Jerome, and together we co-founded the company Shwowp in Montreal earlier this year. Shwowp is in the business of building tools for consumers to help them make their shopping data more meaningful. There's been a lot of talk lately about the amount of data that websites are collecting about us through tracking software and cookies as we surf around. You remember that scene in Minority Report when the Tom Cruise character is booting down the hallway and he's getting bombarded by ads by Guinness and American Express and even Bulgari perfume? Well, that future is basically here, minus the precogs, of course, which would have been the cool part. There's definitely something wrong with this picture, but we don't think it's that the data is being collected. That's great. Data is awesome. We think that it's one-sided. Those with the vendors are the only ones that can be amassing and leveraging and tracking the data that's out there. While as consumers, well, we kind of forget the last couple of things that we purchase most of the time. We at Shwowp are seeking to answer the question, what if? What if the consumers had as much leverage with the data as the vendors do? In other words, what if John Anderton himself had the ability to send out clear and secure signals to get back what he really needed in that moment? A safe haven, a new identity. So let me show you where we're at. So I do a lot of online shopping. These are a few of my most recent purchases. So all I need to do is forward my order confirmations in my inbox to wow@shwowp.com. And then somewhere between my inbox and my account at shwowp.com, something magical but undisclosed is going to happen, and it's going to show up there. So let's see. Well, let's see how this magic works. Okay, refresh. Yeah, oh, it's going to work. Magic takes a little bit of time, of course, especially, oh, there we go, yay! So anyways, I'm going to go into my Zappos order and approve it, but I'm also going to edit it. I've been running a lot lately, and I needed a pair of shoes that were lightweight, yet provided enough shock support for me. So I'm going to choose, I needed it from the menu here. And then I really only want to share it with my friends. So what we're doing here is we're augmenting the basic purchase data, the stuff that's like the what, the how much sort of thing, with the why, the real personal story behind what we're buying. We want consumers to be a little more mindful of what they're shopping for. Which brings me to my next purchase, which has come through now, which is Spent, the book by Jeffrey Miller that I bought off Amazon. Now this book definitely spoke to me. What we're doing here as we're posting what we're buying and what we talk about when we're buying is taste signaling, and it's actually talked about in the book. Now, when we do things like buy indie music or even those running shoes or even an iPad, we're telling others a little bit about who we are and what we're about. So then after I approve everything, I can go back in and I can see myself building a bit of a history. I can start to slice it by when, where, what time. Also by what I needed at the time, why I bought it at the time, including my recent splurges. We're also planning on being able to slice this and mash up this data and show analytics around this data to make it meaningful for the customers, like taking the weather and mashing it up with your shopping history and saying, do we really save for a rainy day? Within the next few weeks, you'll also be able to share it instantly to Twitter and Facebook and email. Now, we're working on multiple ways to get data into Shwowp. We're working on multiple ways to get data into Shwowp. Where is my head? We just finished this plugin or an application with Shopify stores that makes us instantly data compatible with tens of thousands of stores, including like the Foo Fighters and Amnesty International's merchandise store. So we created this fun demo store, and I think Cassandra and Jerome think I need a little more charisma upstage and maybe some unsolicited advice. Is that what you guys are saying there? Well, okay, that's fine. They'll start filling out my information to order this. Now, the email address that they're putting in right now is actually my Shwowp email address. So because it has the application installed, it should automatically appear in my, there we are. It automatically, come on, there's got to be a little bit of. Now, we've also been talking to several retailers who are really interested in this sort of thing, and retail platforms. Sort of a powered by Shwowp idea, so that they're basically signaling to their customers that they're interested in not hoarding their data. So I've shown you a lot of the data into Shwowp, which we're basically alpha launching today, but I wanted to actually tell you about our grander vision, which I think, the data in is cool, but the grander vision is what we're here for, the real disruptive part of Shwowp. And that is data out, data portability exemplified. Now, we think that the data actually is powerful when the customer can take all that they've amassed and leverage it back for something of value in return. Better deals, loyalty points, VIP programs, and even better search results. So this is what we're lovingly calling the personal RFP, but in public it won't be this. So I can choose, I'm looking for those running shoes again. I'm almost done. I can look for those running shoes again. I go into the next screen where I can choose from my favorite brands and vendors, go into the next screen, and this is what's significant. I can choose what part of my data, how far back in my data that I'm sharing with the stores in order for them to give me really cool personalized results. And then I'll hit submit, and there you have it. We'll get back personalized results. For me, it all depends on what I choose to put in. It's all opt-in and transparent.
Okay, I think
all
we're
in
out
all,
of time.
okay.
But round of applause then for Shwowp. Okay, who wants to jump in first on Shwowp? Loic, you raised your hand. Jump on in.
Hey,
that sounds really close to Blippi.
The data in part, certainly, but we think that the longer term vision is very different from where Blippi is going. In fact, we're not interested in credit card data because it just talks about the where and how much you pay for it. We're not a sharing platform in that way. We're more interested in the taste signaling part as well as the data portability part. And right now, we already have an export button as we launch for your data on the website.
And related to this, if you allow me, Paul, it also leaves with the idea that we want to share what we buy. And I'm not convinced at all that most people want to share what they buy.
Well, actually, our target market happens to be women. And the reason why that is that they control $4.3 trillion in spending in the US. That's 72%. So we're speaking to them. And in the number 3, 4 activities that they do online, shop online, talk about products, and share deals and share purchase information. So we're not changing something. We're just enabling an activity that's already happening.
I have to go to you, Julie.
Okay, so the member of your target market, I wouldn't mind sharing my data online as long as I was getting some economic benefit from it. And so if it was powerful, I would do it in a minute. But I don't, I want to avoid my close ones seeing exactly what I'm buying. How that data is controlled, I think, would be the secret to your success for this.
Yeah, well, we want to make Shwowp work for people that aren't sharing it at all, actually. The biggest part is the data portability. So you could have a totally private account where you can see you can keep track of what you're buying and why, but then you can also use it for those personal RFPs ultimately. We want it to be meaningful for one person on the network if they're not connected to anybody else.
John?
I love the fact that you guys are thinking big. Like, I was sitting here listening to the presentation. I think for sure your vision, you guys are thinking big. I have kind of a practical point, which is as I was going through the user flow, I feel like if you guys have opportunities to streamline what you're asking the user to do, that might be a good thing to consider. It just seems to be like a lot of actions to kind of plug into the system.
Yeah, well, the reason that we've actually put a lot of steps into it currently is because we're optimizing for privacy, first and foremost. That's part of our target market being women is thinking privacy matters first, instead of Instamatic matters first. And we want quality rather than quantity of users in the beginning to start to build the right kind of community.
John?
Nice job, Tara.
Thank you.
You did a great job. I think this idea is deeper than you could convey in 6 minutes. I think there's a lot more to this than what we heard.
We think so too.
Data portability and that kind of thing, and turning that around so that you get to control how it's used, I think is pretty powerful, and getting offers to come to you based on your interests can be very powerful. I would suggest your data is being shared already.
Yes.
You just don't know it.
Yeah.
So turning that around so that you can control how your data is shared, I think, can be pretty powerful. I'd like to hear more about it. 6 minutes wasn't enough.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh, we'll talk later.
We've got a couple of minutes left. Any other points and questions?
Well, it reminds me that whenever I get my end-of-year American Express summary and I see how much money I've spent on various items, the thought of being able to turn that around and get something back for that really is exciting. So
Yeah.
I think it has a lot of legs.
And you know that American Express is taking that information and turning it around and getting something more out of it anyway, so why shouldn't you, as the person that's made those purchases, do it?
I think John hit on a very powerful point. You need to make this as frictionless as possible. Don't try to change user behavior. If you can get it so that it goes into the natural flow of the way they shop and buy without any other friction, that's a great point from John.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why we're working on all the data in possibilities now, the sync to Shwowp buttons, the automatic syncing, that sort of thing. iPhone app.
What are the different e-commerce sites which have an API you can use? I think Zappos, Amazon,
Yeah.
iTunes. Yes. Which ones?
We talked to Etsy the other day. We talked to Groupon about using their API. It's a bit a different one, but definitely Etsy. Shopify, it wasn't something that we sat down with Shopify and signed a business agreement. We used their API to create this application that we'll be putting in their store and then promoting to their various retailers. So APIs, yes, all the way.
Hey, Paul, it just occurred to me, I'm so into the business ideas I didn't even notice, but do you know we've had 2 straight women entrepreneurs presenting here?
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to underscore
If
the
Rachel
point.
Sklar is still here.
I'm a mother and I'm 37, by the way.
I was going to comment on that. If only at Disrupt, we don't seem to have a dearth of excellent female entrepreneurs. So
Awesome.
on that inspiring,
and by the way, an entrepreneurial judge as well.
and on that inspiring fuck you to the dad. I believe that's a round of applause for Shwowp.
Thank you.
Wow. And I believe that's the last of the 4 for this session. So one more round of applause for our excellent panel of judges. And we'll see you back here in some